Hello, my name is Mark Fleming, and I am a dentist and a transition consultant with Paragon. Today, I'll be talking about the most common options for new graduates. First, let's take a look at the typical professional life cycle for dentists. The red line represents your income, and you can see that there are three separate phases in the typical dental career. These phases are the growth phase, where you are building a practice and patient base and steadily increasing your income. The maturity phase, when you have reached the maximum amount of production that you can do with just one person. And then finally, the decline phase, when you get closer to retirement and decide to work less days and do fewer procedures. This in turn leads to a gradual loss in income. New graduates have a number of options. Some examples of these are government service, specialty school, residency programs, associateships, practice startups, and of course practice purchase. You will notice a small downturn in income in years 1 and 2 before you see a steadily increasing income curve. This is due to the fact that many of these new graduate options provide very little income. Most dentists may try one or more of these options at first, but almost all eventually end up in practice purchase situations by years 3 to 5. The key to financial success is 1. Eliminate the downward trend that occurs just after graduation. Unless you are in a specialty program that may increase future income, these years just become lost years and lost productivity. 2. Shorten the growth phase to less than the average 10 to 12 years. 3. Know when you reach the solo economic threshold. This is the point when a dentist can't produce any more with their two hands, either physically or mentally. This is the point when the practice goes from an increasing growth phase and reaches the flat maturity phase. If you know when you reach this point, you can avoid the stagnant maturity phase and continue with practice growth. Now, let's talk in more detail about the most common new graduate option, the associate. Most associateships are not well planned and often begin only with a simple handshake. We call these hired gun associateships. The typical dialogue is, let's practice together for a while and see how things work out. There is rarely a formal contract to protect the interest of either party. Or, at best, there is a completely one-sided contract that only protects the practice owner. Host dentists do not typically bring in associates because they are so busy and need extra help. In fact, the most common reason they feel they need an associate is because of just the opposite. They want to attract more patients. And this is the reason that the typical associateship fails 90% of the time. The associate is brought into a practice that does not have enough patients to truly support two doctors, and then the associate must basically build their own practice within the other practice. Sooner or later, the associate and host begin talking about a buy-in or buy-out, but with no contract in place that protects the associate's ownership rights, these talks quickly become adversarial. History proves that the associate and the host doctor will not be able to agree on a fair price. The host doctor will expect the full fair market value for his or her practice. The associate will not want to pay full price for the part of the practice that the associate built. And after a mountain of wasted dollars on legal fees and a ton of stress for both doctors, the relationship typically explodes, and the associate is forced to move on to a new chapter in his or her dental career. I know you think you'll beat the odds, and perhaps you will, but the fact is that 90% of these hired gun associate relationships do not last but a couple of years. However, we certainly don't want to leave you with the impression that all associateships will fail. In fact, a properly structured associateship that eliminates the ambiguity of the hired gun relationship is an excellent practice transition plan for success. A properly structured associateship must have the following. First, it is critical that the practice has enough patients to accommodate an associate. Second, you must have a well-designed transition plan structure. Third, you must have a contract that clearly governs and protects that transition plan. Fourth, you must decide if the end result will be a transition into co-ownership or a transition into full practice ownership. Fifth, you must decide if the ownership transition, full or partial, will be immediate or will occur over a number of years. And finally, the transition plan must account for how the practice growth will be equitably valued and credited when the buyout or buy-in occurs. As opposed to the 90% failure rate of hired gun associateships, properly structured associateship programs that lead to practice ownership and or co-ownership have a virtual 100% success rate. The next new graduate option that I will talk about is the practice startup. If a long-term, high-risk venture excites you, then a practice startup is the option for you. While it may make sense for you to have the exact equipment and location you desire, there is one key ingredient to your financial success that is missing: patience. Dentists who begin their careers with a sufficient quality patient base enjoy a substantial income beginning on day one. A dental practice without patience is not a dental practice, it's an overhead monster. History reveals that success is not going to be as easy for some as they may think. It is a virtual certainty that it will take years to build a quality patient base that is large enough to pay your bills and provide you with an income. This brings us to the third and most logical choice for the new grad: the practice purchase. Purchasing a practice will give you a major jumpstart to reaching your income potential and get you moving quickly up the income curve in the growth phase of your career. The advantages of purchasing a practice are: first and most important is an immediate quality patient base, immediate and consistent personal income, you'll have a known practice financial track record, also you will have immediate credibility in the community, the seller can stay on as your associate, or the seller can be your mentor. Now let's go over some frequently asked questions about practice purchases. Question 1. Can I produce as much as the projections show I need to produce to achieve the cash flow? Experience confirms that you will produce what we project, but you may have to work a few hours more each week than the seller was working until you get faster. Question 2. Are practice sales always structured where the seller retires immediately? Not at all. Practice sales can be structured as a walk-away where the seller retires, or a pre-sale where the seller remains with you as your associate. Pre-sales also vary from case to case. Some are structured for the seller to remain with you for a short time, while in others the seller stays with you for years. For a successful transition, the buyer's needs and goals must be matched with the correct practice opportunity and transition structure. Question 3. What if the patients don't stay with the practice after the seller retires? Frankly, unless you're a complete jerk, there is no logical reason for the patients to leave the practice after the seller retires. Consider this. The seller mails a letter to each patient endorsing you. The staff and practice location remains the same. The only difference in the office is you. With the seller no longer available, would not any dentist be new for the patient? If you would like more information on your options as a new graduate, please contact Paragon today. Paragon Dental Practice Transitions is a national network of many individuals who play a significant role in each transition: dentists, attorneys, accountants, and healthcare administrators. We have consultants like myself in your local area ready to help you with your practice search. Contact Paragon today and schedule your complimentary consultation. No obligation, just an extremely worthwhile education. For more information, visit our website at www.paragon.us.com or contact us by email at info@paragon.us.com or toll free at 866 898 1867.